Okay, right. I think we can start. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Selamat petang dan salam sejahtera. My name is Muhammad Rushidi and I shall present a paper for the conference, basically, which with the title with the conceptualization of service recovery satisfaction. As you can see on the screen here, ladies and gentlemen, uh, I'm myself, right, basically Muhammad Rushidi, and as you can see on the screen, is the co-authors, right, basically for this paper and for this research, right, basically. Okay, right, so moving on. Okay, basically, service, right, basically is vulnerable to failure, and the element of service certification, normally what we call it, service recovery, is often missing or inadequately implemented. This is mentioned by Valerie et al. 2009. I would say service, basically is not just for business services, but also involved in the higher education institution. I would say, right, basically, right. So any organization, basically, often focus on doing the right time at the right place, or at the first time, doing the right things at the first time. But somehow, rather, basically, service failure is inevitable, and it would happen along the way. I would say when it happens, service failure, basically, the customer would be dissatisfied, disappointed, and also not delighted. I would say, right, basically. Once service failure is happened, then the organization or service provider should take on service recovery. I would say why the organization or service provider need to do that is all to elevate back the dissatisfied customer and reinstate back their satisfaction. Basically. Okay, moving on. Right. So this conceptual studies, right, basically particularly focus on the open and distance learning environment, right, basically that have been mentioned by in the previous literature. I would say, right, basically. So this research, right, basically is address the theoretical gap that had been mentioned in the previous literature, particularly on Colquitt et al. Greenberg and also Greenberg from 1993. It's all about in theoretical gap, right? Basically, it's focusing more into the four-factor dimension of justice. I would say, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on. Okay, as you can see on the screen here, right, basically this is all the research objective, research question, and the research hypothesis, right? Basically, this R, O, R, Q, and RH, right? Basically, the hypothesis is derived, right? Basically, from the research framework that we are proposing, particularly for this conference. As you can see on the left-hand side, right, basically we have perceived justice, which is consists of the distributive justice, procedural justice, interpersonal justice, and informational justice. To the right hand, right, basically we have service recovery satisfaction as the dependent variable. Along the way, in the middle, we are proposing the unity image construct as the moderator, particularly, right? Basically, this is our proposed research paper. Okay, moving on. Okay, the theory that we are focusing, basically in this study is all about justice theory, basically justice theories that come in the four factor of dimension, basically that have been proposed by Nick Pin et al. 2019, I would say, right, basically, right? Okay, moving on. Right. Okay, as you can see on the screen right now, basically, service failure, basically, can be considered as a broken promise. When they are experiencing service failure, it's a broken promise from the service provider. This is where justice, I would say, often kicks in the term of form of distributive, procedural, interpersonal, and informational justice. I would say, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on. Again, basically, in this study, we are focusing on service failure, basically. Well, earlier we already have looked at service failure is a broken promise, and it would happen, basically, whenever any product or service which is did not meet any customer satisfaction, I would say. It tends to result in the customer dissatisfaction, basically, particularly In this study, we are following the suggestion from Chalal and Devi 2013, right? Basically, looking into service failure and how to mitigate it, right? Basically, right, in the higher education sector, yeah, I would say, right? Basically. Okay, right, moving on, right, basically. Once service failure happens, right, basically, now the service provider or the university itself, particularly in higher education setting, right, basically, we are providing this service recovery process, yeah, I would say. Service recovery process, right, basically, is a way or an approach, right, basically, to provide a solution to the problem caused by the failures and improve the relationship between the customer and firm. This is following the definition from Cambra Ferrero et al. 2015. Yeah, I would say, right? Basically, this is the whole idea why we take under this topic, research service recovery, as our main research topic for our studies. Yeah, I would say. Okay, moving on. Okay, significant of the studies are basically, of course, basically they involve with body of knowledge. We are combining the four justice dimension, basically because basically in the previous studies in service recovery literature focus on the three factor of justice dimension. In these studies, we are focusing on the four justice dimension, which is the disability justice, procedural justice, interpersonal justice, and also the informational justice, yeah, I would say, right, basically, right? Okay, moving on. In theoretical aspect, right, basically, of course, we extended the use of the four justice theory, right, basically, and of course, focusing on the context, right, basically, because no empirical studies has been done to in the ODL setting yet. So our proposed studies here, right, basically, is among the earliest, right, basically, to propose the four-factor dimension of justice in the ODL setting, right? Practical setting, right, basically, of course, we are emphasizing to improve or strengthen the evaluation of value-added service and function of the service provider or the institution, right, basically, right, basically, right, basically, and also our main goal here is right, basically to reduce the dissatisfaction in the service failure context. Yeah, I would say. Okay, right. Of course, any studies would have some limitation. Right? Basically, this study focus on ODL, which is at this moment focusing into this three dedicated institution at university level, which is offer the ODL approach of mode of learning, which is the OUM, AEU, and Wawasan University. Perhaps in the future, right, basically, we could expand it to other research setting, which is could be relevant in the future. Yeah, basically, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that's about it. Yeah, thank you very much, basically, and I hope all of you have a good day ahead. Okay, bye bye. Take care.